We welcome you back to the Student Section Podcast, a podcast for student athletes and by students. And in this case, by student athletes as well. And you were a student athlete at a point, but right now you're Coach Pete. We welcome Coach Pete of the track and field and cross country teams alongside our own Parker O'Brien and Sierra Fisher, two-star athletes of their own. Welcome, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for
Yeah, it
having
was
us.
a long time ago when I was a student.
Back in the 80s.
Back in the 80s, yep. 1980s, that is.
And you went to Marist.
I did go to Marist.
And now you're continuing your prowess as Coach Pete.
Yep, for a long time.
There is a big story. We got to just hit it out of the park. And it's not a park, it's a field. Welcome to the track. I want to say a formal welcome. I mean, we've spoken about it off camera, but we are now in track territory. What does this mean to you?
Oh, it's a dream come true, right? We have a track on campus. When it was announced in December of 2023, I went home and told my wife, Heidi, and she said, "Did you ever think you'd see the day?" And my answer was no. And then this summer, when it was complete, we came here, and we walked down the stairs, and she turns to me, she's like, "It's like it always belonged here."
Wow.
Right? I mean, it really is. And it's incredible. And I'm just so thrilled for these guys and all of our athletes. It's just going to make us better. And I'm really thrilled for the alums that are coming back on Saturday, that they're going to be able to see it. And they laid the foundation for this. So it's just, I'm just getting chills talking about it. It's really cool.
You said before any sort of practice or event on there, you said, quote, "It's going to be amazing and it's going to be mind-blowing." Now that you all have had some time on there, how does it feel to finally have your own track? Parker?
I mean, for me personally, I honestly don't remember not having a track now. Like, it's weird. Like, I don't know about you, Sierra, but like, I definitely like Vassar just feels like so long ago. And
It's interesting.
yeah, it's just kind of like blurry to me now. So and I love the track. I love like that it's just here. Like it's really like just a walk down the hill.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I always say it's so silly, but whenever I think of having a track on campus, I'm always like, oh, yeah, there should just be one there. And, like, we're track athletes. We should have a track. And so now having it, it feels like a full circle moment. And I always joked, like, yeah, if you go to basketball practice and don't have basketball, what are you going to do?
That's incredibly true.
I said all the time, like, that's kind of how we felt for so long. But it's really nice to finally have a place that we can call home.
Yeah.
Take us through a practice with the old track when you go to Vassar. What did that look like as the coach and then as the athlete side?
Well, first off, we're the Van Keys, right? I'm going to give you a lot of history here, but we've tidied it up now. I came up with the brilliant idea to have hooks outside of my office for the Van Keys.
Okay.
So grab the Van Keys. All right. Then go down in the back. Make sure they got gas in them. I'm the only one that gasses them up.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't just a couple years ago. It's like, all right, who the heck's driving the other van, right? Because we were kind of light on that. and then I turn into dad and I say, all right, ladies, gentlemen, buckle your seatbelts.
Okay. No
right?
lawsuits, right?
Right, exactly. And we can't have more than 9 in the van. Count heads. Okay. Oh, we got too many. Go in the other van. And then, all right, who's connecting their phone? What music we're going to listen to for the 10-minute ride? If it's me, it's not music. It's NPR or an audiobook.
Are you okay with every sort of music? Do you care what they play, or are you a stickler? Has to be clean.
It's not about me, dude.
Okay.
It's whatever they're listening to, I'm listening to.
Great. That's a great mentality.
We've had athletes in the past that have had good, like Neil, who just graduated.
I thought you were saying Neil Diamond, like that was
No.
selection.
Neil V. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his last name. His playlist was fantastic. We would vibe back and forth. With the women, I just let them play whatever. Emily's playlists are pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Because we still go off campus now for cross country.
Okay.
But anyway, to get back to your question, so then we pile into the vans. We drive over to Vassar. It's 10 minutes. We get out, and as recently as this winter, it's like, the gate's locked, and then I have to go to the grounds guys at Vassar, interrupt their breakfast, and they'd unlock the gate for us. And they were, just for the record, Vassar, I actually miss those guys.
Mm-hmm.
The Vassar was the most gracious hosts.
Yeah, they were great people.
They treated us like they were our own, right? And then we walked the short walk from the parking lot to the track, and then you know what? Then we're track athletes, and I'm a track coach, and away we go. So like Parker said, now for them, it's just a walk down the hill. So pretty cool.
It's just business as usual. You wake up probably a little bit later, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean,
I do.
I have to get up earlier.
Yeah, you're on
Early
campus.
riser.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm kind of slow in the morning, so I have to give myself extra time.
We mentioned getting up, and we spoke about this a little bit last year, but I got to ask you, we ask everyone who comes on, what does a morning look like? What are you eating? When are you getting up? What does a morning look like for Coach Pete?
My morning?
Yeah, your morning.
we really want to go here?
I think we want to go here.
Why?
Are you an egg sandwich guy? Are you a coffee guy? Tea?
You really want to go here, huh?
I think we
Bagels.
want to go here.
Oh, good
Pete
God.
gets up
So
at
I get up.
4.
I mean, my alarm is 4:05.
4:05, ladies and gentlemen.
That's AM
it.
for
I
those
figured,
keeping
yeah.
score at home.
Okay.
And but I get up earlier because we have dogs, and Ellie, our youngest dog, starts licking. This is actually today. Starts licking me on the head at about 3:55.
Well, good morning to you.
And we have 3 dogs, and she wants to eat. So I'm like, man. And my wife is snoring on the other side of the bed, so I'm doing it, right? So I go downstairs. I let the dogs out. I pop in my Tim Hortons coffee, brew that, feed the dogs, make sure they go out again to do what dogs do. And then I'm usually starting my word game on New York Times or getting ready for either a walk or a run. I do something every day, either more walking these days than running. But I'm not eating anything. I don't eat anything for a while.
I agree with you.
So that's just me. So I'm drinking coffee. And then now we have early practice with the women. So I'm either walking, running, oftentimes from here, and then switch from my walking hat to my running hat. I mean, my coaching hat, and away we go. And again, some days we're still like tomorrow. No, Friday we're going off campus. So Vans is 6:30. And when track season comes, it's going to be either we're running from campus somewhere or we're going to the track. So, and we have had a few track practices for cross country, but cross country is still cross country. So we still do go off campus, but it's really interesting to hear Parker's perspective that it's just like, it seems like it's just
It's
normal.
always been here now.
I mean, gosh, it's only been 5 weeks
Yeah.
and we've only done a handful of workouts, but it's so natural. Right? I mean, again, you don't question a basketball team on the basketball court. You don't question the football team on the football field. You don't question crew on the river.
100%.
Tennis players up at the tennis court or going, in the winter over to cross courts or whatever it's called. Yeah. So for us, I guess you could say it's been unnatural forever, and now it's natural. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In a way, I'll say it should have been this, right? To an extent. Obviously, you were here in your days. Mm-hmm. Did it feel kind of different when this finally opened and you could kind of take a look at a wide scale, say we can finally have this for our athletes, while you kind of marveled in the way that they produced?
Yeah, so the narrative that Pete always wanted a track and always lobbied for a track is kind of false.
Okay.
Right? If not having a track was a big deal, I would have
You wouldn't be here.
I would have gotten here
That's
a
true.
long
That's very
time
true.
ago, right? So our athletes were able to succeed without having a track. Now we can succeed better with a track. So no, yeah. I mean, were there days? I mean, there are always sucky days, right? Where the van, we got to shovel snow away from the van, stuff like that. But the idea that we couldn't succeed without facilities. Listen, if you go in with that defeatist attitude, we shouldn't even go to meets.
I agree.
Right? I mean, it's not a level playing field. We run against teams that are funded way better than us. Nobody's feeling sorry for us when that gun goes off.
No.
And I'm not going to name schools, but there's teams that are better equipped than us.
Yeah.
We got to go out and beat their asses. And that's what we try to do. And we're going to try to do it next Friday, and we're going to try to do it 5 weeks from now. So
And you mentioned beat, their whatevers.
Sorry.
No. We will bleep it, but it doesn't matter because it's true. I mean, Parker, look at you. First place in the Marist Home Invite just a few weeks ago. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
These two are seniors, and you always have a big senior class, but I feel like these two are just special personalities, and a lot of the track team, shout out to Jack DeVores, wherever he is. I don't know where he is. But I feel like a lot of these people, especially this track team, is just so close. When you have to let these seniors, blossom into graduates, how do you feel every year?
You're gonna make me cry, man.
They call me David Muir.
So, who's that? Oh, the ABC guy. Yeah. So, I've already thought about it. This class. I'm really gonna cry with this class because we've been through a lot together, and they had the good fortune to be able to experience having a track on campus. So I'm always going to remember class of 2026. But we have a special connection, this group, and the men as well. Mm-hmm. And I probably say that every year at the senior awards banquet, but there's 35 years. Like there's certain classes I remember. I remember the class of 2008. I remember the class of 2002. Some of those we're going to see some of those men and women. I mean, I can name their names, but then other years it's like I'll see a guy or a lady come back. I'm like, what year did you graduate? I know I know they're like mid-30s, mid-40s, but like, was it 2011? Was it 1998?
Just a test of how long and how accomplished you've been here, honestly. And I mean, you would agree. This guy, everywhere you hear, he's just so personable, and that's what makes him special.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I mean,
thank you.
We always say about Coach Pete, like he always looks at us as people first as athletes, and I think that's the thing that we probably like appreciate most about him is that he treats us like human beings. He obviously pushes us to be the best that we can be, but he genuinely cares about us succeeding. Like he wants us to be better, obviously in running, but like he wants to see us improve in life. He wants to see us go far and be people outside of just these 4 years here. So
yeah, and I mean every practice, for the most part, we start off with what we're grateful for. Mm-hmm. And it's not always something that involves running. It's like just things that are happening in our life. And now, Pete, I'm also kind of curious asking, you started off when I was here coaching men. Mm-hmm. And then now you've kind of shifted into coaching women. And I know that your coaching style has always kind of been the same. You're very direct, very upfront and honest, and you're not afraid to give criticism. But are there ways that your coaching has shifted now that you are coaching women?
Yes and no. I would say, I mean, first off, I've always felt connected to the women's team, even though maybe I wasn't the primary coach. So the approach is a former athlete of mine who turned out to be a great coach, coached a national champion. Justin Harris, he was on a podcast, and somebody asked him what they thought my coaching style was, and he said blunt optimism. It's pretty interesting.
Blunt
optimism.
Yeah, that's pretty
right?
accurate. Yeah.
So I think that Parker, to answer your question, I think I'm the same person with the women, with the men, but maybe the approach is slightly different. So we've talked about it, you and I too. Like sometimes with the guys, the forget about the optimism. It's all blunt, right? And I mean, Jack knows what I'm talking about. There's been times where with the women, it's more the optimism aspect. Really, it's about people, and it's about relating to people. And are there gender differences? Are there gender specifics? There are, but ultimately, you're student athletes and special people, and we got to meet you where you're at. And my goal is to I'm there for them. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's always about the athletes. It's not about the coach. I really believe that. It sounds like a cliche, but I try to live it every day. I really do.
And a lot of these athletes, especially you two, are pretty prevalent in the non-athletic realm, whether it's in the communications and journalism or art or fashion. There's always something else that everybody here, basically at Marist, will do after. And that's the same for you. You have a blog, right? You have a blog that you post? I don't know if this is public knowledge. It might be.
I guess, yeah. I don't know if anybody reads it, but
well, I read it. It's called "Still on the Run."
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We
can definitely plug that because that's for subscription, man.
So tell them what
$30 a year. Let's go.
Your most recent article or blog post was on Sunday, September 21st, and that really covers what the mental feat is after a marathon. And a lot of these athletes, they'll race, they'll be naturally tired. I can't run for anything. If you've seen me run, it's very depressing. So I marvel every time.
We've talked about it.
We have. Well, that's good news. We've talked about it. That's how good of a runner I am. I marvel at every time I hear a track athlete do anything. I feel like I would be in an ambulance halfway through. How do you tell yourself after you've done 70 plus marathons, is that correct? Ultra marathons included?
Yeah.
How do you tell yourself and athletes, what is a recommendation on how to relax after? What are they trying to feel? Complete? Are they trying to go for more? What's an appropriate reaction?
Like afterwards?
Yeah.
Well, with these ladies and the guys, it's very emotional, right? So what I look at, again, I'm putting my coaching hat on, right? Is, are you okay? Do you need anything, right? And then we can unpack it in the hours and maybe even days after. But to your point, Will, this sport is unique. I guess rowing is kind of similar, swimming for sure. There's no timeouts.
100%.
It's all go and no blow, right? So that's really, really, really hard. Like the World Athletics was just this past week, and you watch the marathon. Wow, man! And the weather was so bad there. It was so hot, Tokyo. And these are the best in the world, And it's funny. I didn't tell you guys this, but I'm watching a men's marathon, and they're looking at their watches, and they're looking at their watches. And I always tell the guys especially, stop looking at your damn watches. I used to tell Tori that all the time, right? And so now I have no credibility because if the world's best are doing it, So, but it's it's a unique sport. That's the only way to really sum it up, I would say.
There is no stoppages, and there are times where you probably feel like your body's not the best. You're not that well rested. You're hungry, but you guys persevere. What allows you to keep going, especially as I'm not going to say wind down your career, but you've realized that this might be it on the collegiate level.
Yeah, I mean, I know for me, since it is my last year, it's like I just want to have fun and I just want to enjoy it, and I want to like kind of cherish every moment, every opportunity that I have. I am a huge racer. I like that. That's how I get faster. That's how I get better. And I just want to take every opportunity and make something of it. And I know, Sierra, I train with you. Like, we're training partners.
Yeah, for 4 years.
For
That's
4
crazy.
years. I'm so bad with my watch, and she's the only person that I count on with the watch. She always has it. She's like, oh, I have it. And I mean, I want to know what what's a memory that you cherished in these past 4 years?
Oh gosh, that's hard. I think
Are you kidding me? ECAC's 1,000.
I know.
Come on.
I don't want to.
I
I know. I don't want to.
What? No, come on. She was. Oh my
Give her some
God.
credit. We mentioned it last year, but we'll mention it
Boston,
again.
March 2025.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah,
You.
I think if I look back, definitely ECAC's
There you go.
last
Hell yeah.
year. I love every single practice and I love all the memories and stuff. But race wise, like Pete knows this. I usually, even if I PR or run well, like I usually come off and I'm upset. Like I'm never satisfied as a racer, which keeps me motivated. But I think last year that was really a big special day for me. Pete and I had set a goal at the beginning of the season. I had always wanted to try and get the school record, and now being a second off from that is really cool. I mean, from my freshman year, I could barely even break 3, and now I'm trying to like break 250, which is crazy to even like say out loud. But it's one of those things where I had a lot of challenges last winter as well. Like I kept getting sick. I kept kind of having this continuous like battles. I mean, the weather was horrendous, so it was definitely a brutal season. But looking back, like that was a pivotal moment in my career, and I can look back and say I'm really proud of myself for like putting myself out there.
Yeah.
And it was a good day.
Yeah,
and
no.
I
was there.
Yeah.
That was amazing to watch.
She got second place,
Yeah.
man.
Second place.
Second
in
place
the
in
ECACs.
ECACs, yes.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
sensational.
Yeah.
But that's something that you're gonna remember for your entire life.
Yeah. I mean, my freshman year I got last, I think, second to last.
That's an even better story.
Like, it's just crazy. Like I don't know. I'm very, very grateful for it. So
Yeah, Pete, do you have a memory from your running days here at Marist that you cherish?
That's a really good question. I've never been asked that. From my running days in Marist, that's a long time ago. Well, I'm gonna kind of cop out answer. I remember more the day to day, right? I remember doing 15-mile loops over the bridge, closing hard in a 7-mile loop with Kenny Bohan, stuff like that. But I'm gonna go in a different direction. And I think I've told you guys this back then, but definitely more so now. I'm much more about practice. I just love the day-to-day. The meets, the meets is what we're training for, right? But the meets stress me out because I want you guys to succeed so much. But the practice, I said it the other day, a couple of weeks ago. Remember, it's my sanctuary.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was a practice, and the girls were having a pretty good practice. And then my phone rang, and I got kind of agitated. I'm like, and I just blurted out, "This is my sanctuary. Leave me alone." Right? So again, I'm kind of getting off topic, Parker, but like to me, my coffee mug, you guys see it every day. It says process over outcome, and I really, really believe that. So when I think back to college, I think more about, it's 45 years ago, and some of those men are still friends of mine. So that's, I could bore you with some of the race stuff, but it weren't that fast, to be perfectly honest with you.
And
so
you talk about getting stressed for our races, and I know that, from being on the athlete side, like we get really nervous sometimes, like our sleep the night before gets a little bit impacted. But how nervous do you get?
Well, again, it's about you guys. So I don't want that, and I feel like we're at practice now. I really don't want my nervousness to spill onto you guys, because really, and with this team, I have a lot of confidence in you guys.
Yeah.
If you guys show up in these next couple cross country meets healthy, all our top 8 specifically, but if all of our women show up on the line, you're gonna succeed. I have that deep belief, and I guess it's like I want the success for you guys so much. So there's that kind of nervousness. So, but to answer your question, one of my sayings is control the controllables, right? Well, when that gun goes off, I can't control a damn thing. I can't control, and especially in cross country, I'm as useful as the trees, right? Really. But at least in track, I can give you splits.
Yeah.
Right. In cross country, there's not like the MAAC meet course, the Twin Ponds course. Unless I have a bike, which we know I'm not doing that anymore. I'm only going to see you guys like 2 or 3 times.
Yep.
So yeah, I get the nerves, but really, again, the focus as a coach is to get you guys to the line healthy and in the right mental mindset. The balance of excitement and nervousness, you're going to have both, right? But the nervousness can't debilitate the excitement.
Yeah.
Right. So does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a beautiful answer.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about what you've seen today, especially in the last couple of years. We dive in a little bit in the numbers. They're so supplemental, but the day of giving last year for track and field and cross country, $19,000 raised, and for the field, $47,000 raised. How impactful are the donations? Yes, but also the alumni who come back and give back each and every year.
Oh yeah, it just shows. We're like there's interconnectedness. There's men and women, probably more women, that don't know, that have never met you, but they know who you guys are,
Well,
right?
They're both the face of Marist Athletics.
And yeah, no, but like really, they're the only 2 sitting here, but they know. They know who Amari is. They know who Kropo is when records are set, and so there's that interconnectedness that's really special. It's not unique to track; other sports have it. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a big fan of the fundraising aspect of being a coach, but it is gratifying. And again, to the bigger number that you mentioned, 47 or whatever it was, that was the initiative for the track. So that just shows you how much excitement the alumni base has about having a track on campus. And it's not like, some of them snarky will say, well, it's about time. But most of them are just happy for these guys and the future. And as am I. I'm just thrilled that long after I'm gone, this program is going to thrive now, So that's what it's all about.
I think that's really special. You mentioned the program improving and thriving. New assistant coach. right? Billy Poole Harris.
Yep. And don't forget Alicia
Alicia.
Samuel. Oh,
Yeah.
Listen, you look at our school record board. Most of those athletes were coached by Alicia.
That's
Okay, let's
fantastic.
get that out there. I'm
Yeah.
looking in the camera. Alicia is a fantastic coach. Well, look at both Billy and Alicia. You guys know this. They were both head coaches before they got here, right? So it's a misnomer to call them assistant coach or associate head coach or whatever the heck their titles are, right? They are co-coaches
They are
with
co-coaches.
me. They really are, because I give them full autonomy, because they're really good coaches, right? So I think in a lot of ways that's elevated our program, without a doubt. Having a more viable staff, track and field is. Both of these ladies are great distance runners, middle distance runners, but there's a lot more to track and field. Amari Mathis is a fantastic sprinter. Miracle Okoli is a fantastic hurdler. Yeah. Right. And we have athletes in multiple disciplines. So it's a multifaceted sport. So it requires a bigger staff, and we're getting there. You're never satisfied, but we're getting there.
You say you're never satisfied. This is a very pivotal season for the program as you guys are departing, and you want to make your last year count before the season starts, and you're going to look back at this episode. What do you want to tell Coach about how you hope this season goes? Parker.
I don't want to put kind of any expectations on the season and that kind of thing, but I can only speak on what I want in terms of fulfillment. I think, I just really want to, like I said before, enjoy the season and enjoy the opportunities that are given to me and take advantage of those and really just do my best. And I think that I'm so grateful for you because, I know last year I was having a pretty tough year. And I think, I wouldn't have gone through any of that without you. And I'm getting a little bit emotional about it. but I've never had a coach that was so involved in not just the sport itself, but in an athlete's life and actually caring about the well-being of the person as a whole. And so, that's just something I'll forever be grateful for.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow. Yeah. I think that when I look back, I want to look back and be like, I gave it my all and I gave it 100% of everything that I had, because this is the last opportunity that I have. But I also want to look back and see a team that's going to be set up for the future. And with Pete, that's definitely what we're going to have. And like what Parker said, having Pete has just been genuinely a game changer for the women's team, for myself. I've never had somebody wholeheartedly just believe in me and have my back in any situation. I've also never had a coach for this long. I know Pete just recently took over, but had this kind of consistency in my life. And so I think that that's just helped me tremendously as an athlete. And genuinely, every time that I go to practice, he gives us the workout, and I fully trust him in his training. And I know that he's doing what's best for me and what's best for my fellow teammates. And so I just want to look back and see that everybody kind of happy. Sorry, I'm getting emotional too. Oh my goodness. But that everybody's happy and satisfied in the sense that we gave it our all and that we just kind of took in every moment and embraced it, having somebody with us that fully believed in us and knew that we could achieve those goals. So,
look at this. I didn't know Studio C was going to have the tears.
We made Will cry.
Yeah, I got teary. It's. I know you guys on a personal level, and hearing this kind of you hear Division I athlete. But you guys are just great people, right? Because you hear Division I athlete, but at the core they're just great people.
Yeah, they're gonna be. I've been doing this a long time, right? And I don't know if I'm a great coach, but I think the one thing I'm good at is raising good humans, and there's two of them in this room right now, and that's what it's all about, because I know that 5 years from now they're going to be doing good stuff, whatever it is, and that's important. So what do I want from their senior year? I want them to keep their feet on the ground, be where you are, and when we show up next Friday at Lehigh, give it your best. When we show up at the MAAC championships in 5 weeks, same thing. 2 weeks later at the NCAA regionals, and then we have track. So you're asking really good questions, but ultimately we just want to stay in this journey together. And I think that's the biggest thing. If we stay on the journey together, then good things are bound to happen. And it's not every day, but I want so much for these athletes to have success because they put in the work, they believe, and they're genuinely good people. But when that gun goes off, everybody's trying to murder everybody else.
Yeah.
So it really, I mean, it's fierce, right?
Yeah.
It's fierce. So this is all feel good and stuff like that, but. I tell Billy all the time, they do keep score. So, even in our sport, they do keep score. So we want to do the best we can. But, Parker asked me a really good question. When I think back to these ladies in 5 years, and hopefully they come back and, we go get some salsa fresca or something. We're not going to talk about their PRs. We're going to talk about a lot of other stuff, So yeah, I think of, we've had great memories, right? Winning the 4x8. What time did we run? I don't remember that. Parker getting second there. I mean, I kind of remember the time, but ultimately it's more about the experience. And that's what I'll always cherish. Not only with these ladies, but with the hundreds of athletes I've had before and maybe a few more later. So.
Well, what stands out to me is how moved they are to you and how much you care about them. It's kind of just a constant of this whole place. You've seen it in your 30 plus years. And when this is all over, right? When their career's all over and at its core, just remember each other, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've been blessed enough to go to a lot of weddings, of my former athletes, some of them to each other, right? Actually, just today, Billy Posh was, he texted me, he's a teacher, he was off from school. He's like, hey, coach, can I run on the track? I said, hell yeah, you can run on the track. And then, we were just, he's got 2 kids now and yeah. So, those relationships they're priceless, I don't make a lot of money, but I'm rich with relationships. So,
What a quote.
So.
I have a question for you both. When did you realize that you fell in love with the sport of running?
Wait, for me?
Both of you.
Go with Sierra
Never
first.
for
Go
me.
with Sierra first.
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, you can probably get this. There's a love-hate relationship with running sometimes. I think a lot of the time running can be boggled down to how fast you run and the times that are on the clock. And that is really, really hard to then, on the other end of it, be like, oh, but I still love doing this when you're not seeing the success. So I think I've always loved it from a really, really young age. But I think probably it didn't happen until summer going into junior year last year. The fall, I was in and out of love for the sport. But really last year was kind of the transition for me when I realized that while I was succeeding running, and that was great, it was really the people around me that I learned that's what was most important to me. And I realized that every single day that I get to go, we always easy run days, just an easy 6-mile run. I am so grateful that I get to do that every single day because not everybody has that ability to do so. And so I think when I was able to just bottle it down to this is something that I get to do with my best friends every single day, that's a privilege, and I don't want to take that for granted. And I really just started to fall in love with the process of everything. And from there on, everything kind of started to click for me, which was really, really amazing.
May I just say, if the words easy 6-mile run would ever come out of my mouth, I would be the happiest person ever. So it must be so freeing to just move and just keep moving for 6 miles. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Well,
as a non-runner, I walk, but I can't imagine running for 6 miles. The day that happens, well, we won't be here, but the day that happens,
You could do it.
You could. A lot of people, I think, underestimate their abilities that they can do. And I mean, I know it's funny to say, but I don't know.
Your body can handle more than your mind can.
Yeah.
Well, I'll put that to the test as the semester continues. Right, we'll come back here at the end of the year, and I'll be fast.
Listen, you got to get out of the outfit, though, dude.
Maybe I'll get in the outfit.
Can't be wearing that. Yeah.
When did you fall in love with running?
Oh, I totally forgot about that already. So I started running a long time ago, obviously, but I started late. I didn't start till my junior year of high school, It's actually it's kind of a funny story. I was a basketball player, and ultimately not a good one because there was an inverse relationship between our record and the amount of playing time I had. And I loved baseball. Baseball is today to this day is still my favorite sport. But I started running kind of randomly because we were in gym class on a rainy day, and a kid on the cross country team said, "Hey Pete, you're skinny. You should try to run." So I started running, and I realized, wow, I really like this. Like I got satisfaction out of it, and then I did my first year of cross country my junior year, and I was fifth man, which is varsity, right? I was a scorer. I'm like, wow, I can have some success out of that. So, again, it was a long time ago, but I think it was just random because I didn't come from an athletic family. Nobody in my family was athletic at all. And running, this is back like 1980. It was popular, but it wasn't necessarily popular in our town. So yeah, it was a long time ago. But I just, and then when I came to Marist in 1982, I was, I was surrounded by men. We didn't have a women's team back then, by men that were way more experienced than me. And at first I was intimidated, but with in short order, I was just like, well, I can do this. I just go out and do 8 miles with Bo, and it was fine. We just did it,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So I guess a long time ago, like a lifetime ago.
So like 5 years ago?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, it's a sad goodbye, but it's just a beginning. The season starts for real in just a few weeks. What's your message to the Red Fox faithful as this season will ramp up in kind of a new fashion on the field? Tell them what you think.
Well, come check out the track. It's pretty cool, Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to us, it's like, again, what do we got tomorrow?
Yeah.
Tomorrow's Thursday,
Mm-hmm.
right? Tomorrow's Thursday, and tomorrow's an easy run. I tell the women and the men every day's got a purpose. So tomorrow's got a purpose. Friday's got a purpose. What's the purpose for this year? It's to elevate the program, right? Our day-to-day is going to get easier, but that doesn't guarantee us anything but a better chance to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I say it all the time: process over outcome. So we're just gonna come to practice every day with a purpose, fulfill that purpose, go to the meets, and see what we got.
Well, the purpose today was filled to the brim. Pete, thank you so much for coming on. Sierra, Parker, star athletes. We couldn't thank you enough.
Thank you. It was
Thank
great.
you. Yeah, thank you both.
Truly
This was
great
fun.
conversations. We'll be right back.
Hello, everyone. This is the first segment of the Football Fanatics. We have a great show set up for you today. I am Robert, and I'm here with Matt, Jonathan, and John. Today we will be talking about a popular question that NFL fans are talking about a lot this season. And that question is, should the NFL legislate or change the rules of field goals? What do you think, Jonathan?
I don't think they should. I think the whole idea that we need to make something easier for professional athletes is completely ridiculous. I mean, yes, there are good kickers in the NFL. They've been getting better and better year after year, but I don't think that's a reason to change anything because bad kickers still do exist in this league.
Yeah, I mean, look at this past weekend. You have the Falcons who just signed their brand new kicker. They just released Younghoe Koo, and they signed this new kicker who goes 0 for 2 in his first 2 kicks in a game. So I mean, they're still I don't want to call them bad kickers because they're professional athletes, but inconsistent kickers who teams can't rely on to make 30 to 40-yard field goals.
Yeah, the good ones stand out.
Exactly.
That never changes.
Exactly. And I shoot down the whole changing the rules of field goals because they've been such a staple in football since the early days. And you look back and games have been shaped around field goals. There are games where just the offense isn't working and the defense is outworking the offense, and teams rely on their special teams. Special teams is a third of the football game, and it may not look that way to the viewers, but I played football all of my life, and I've seen it firsthand. Special teams is a third of the game.
The amount of games the Jets lost last year because of missed field goals by Greg the Leg, I mean, I can't even count. It was so many of them. And, I mean, is it really too easy then if a bad kicker is costing so many teams games?
Well, I hear the point of, kicking being a staple of the game, and I don't disagree with that, but kickoff rules have also changed. So I'm on the opposite side of the spectrum as you guys, right? With the ball coming out to the 35-yard line on a touchback, teams only really need to move the ball 15 yards now before they're in field goal territory with how these kickers are hitting from 50, even 60 yards. They're hitting about at a 75% clip, which is double what they were hitting in the 1980s. We saw Cam Little nail a 70-yard field goal in preseason, which was from his own half. So I think it's a little ridiculous to say, like, field goals are a staple, we shouldn't change them, when the game is evolving at the same time. The NFL also isn't a stranger to changing the way field goals kicking works. They moved the goalpost back to the back of the end zone in 1974. They made extra points harder in 2015. So I've seen a possible solution floating around the internet that I just wanted to get out there. I think that they should make further kicks worth less, believe it or not. So kicks less than 39 yards equal 3 points, 40 to 49 yards equal 2, and 50-plus yarders equal 1 point. And I bring this up because I think if an offense struggles to move the ball, they shouldn't be rewarded with the same amount of points. And I don't think it's fair for teams to only give up 15, 20 yards on defense, and then the other team still have a kicker that can give their team 3 points. So I'd like to hear what you guys think about that.
I mean, I don't think you should punish a team for having a good kicker. If someone can kick it 70 yards, that's very impressive, but that's not the norm. The norm is it's just not frequent. Now, if you look at teams that have a great offense, great quarterback, great receivers, and can move the ball down the field very well, then yes, they're not going to need a good kicker as much. But if you have a good kicker that can almost make up for that and you can get those points. So I don't understand the whole idea that you would want it to be worth less points the further they kick it.
I also don't see many teams kicking from 70.
Right.
I can only really see Brandon Aubrey on the Cowboys and Cam Little we saw in preseason on the Jags, but I don't see my Giants kicking 70 yards.
Yeah, it's not the norm.
It's not normal. If this gets normal and we're from the kickers are kicking from the 50, every single kicker, then I think we might need a rule change. But right now, I think we're good.
Well, I mean, another point is this new dynamic kickoff that the NFL has changed. It's received so much backlash, and fans hate it. And I understand it's for the safety of the players, but you see just a little small tweak in a third of the game is receiving so much hate from the fans, and it's just confusion. And another point is you look back and there are some iconic plays that happen on field goals. Cover your ears, any Chicago Bears fan, but playoffs 2019, the double doink, Cody Parkey. I mean, that's like a 1 in a million chance of happening. And I have some other ones written down. Justin Tucker's 66-yard field goal record with no time on the clock against the Detroit Lions. That was another like amazing play. It's just there you can't take away from what's so good already.
Well, the one point I like to make, I know you mentioned how you didn't like the new dynamic kickoff, but for one, I'm a fan of it. I don't think you could. I think personally, we could bring field goal. We could like totally ditch this argument for the further kicks being less points if touchbacks were back to the 2025, because then offenses would have to move the ball. But at the same time, the dynamic kickoff adds a whole element of the game that we hadn't seen with regular kickoffs. Kickers were getting so good, so powerful that they could just kick the ball to the back of the end zone, through the end zone, not even give teams a chance to return it, and they'd have to start at the 2025. So I don't really see the dynamic kickoffs going anywhere. And I also think that it adds a strategy element, like this rule change with the further kicks being less, because you won't see teams taking 50-plus yarders anymore if they're only worth 1 point. You'll see more teams going for it on fourth down, for example. You'll see more strategy, more offense, more maybe not necessarily like scary plays. Like you'll see teams like taking more risks, I'd say, and I think that would be a fun element to add to the game, just as a whole.
Yeah, I agree it'd be more fun, but then it would completely devalue the kicker position.
Yeah.
Because if a kicker can kick from 70 and it's worth 1 point, for example, I mean, you're not going to pay that guy tens of millions of dollars.
That's a good point.
And it's not even just the kicker. It's a 53-man roster, and there's only 11
one of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Them on a team.
And besides the kicker, there are people on the NFL rosters who only play on special teams. It's not that they're not good enough for offense or defense. It's just they fit the part on special teams, and that's when they make their plays.
Hall of Famers
Yeah.
only on special teams.
And it's still entertaining. I think long field goals and even just attempts in general, a miss, it's all very entertaining. And if you change that, if you remove that from the game, I think there's a lot of fans that would be completely outraged. Rule changes in general, If they make sense, fine, sure. But most fans are traditional. They like the game to stay the way it is. They like it to be the way that they grew up on. And typically, if you look at Major League Baseball, fans have been outraged for years about the amount of times that they're changing rules in that game.
Absolutely. And if you take away the 3-point rule and going back to, decreasing the value of a field goal, that takes away from a team that's trailing to kind of come back into the game. Some teams' offense just isn't clicking that day, and they rely on their special teams. And if you can't guarantee 3 points every single drive, then there's no coming back. So I think that eliminates the entire factor of comebacks.
If an offense isn't clicking, why should they be rewarded? Is my point, right? I mean, again, bring it back. If you can move it 30 to 40 yards back in the day before the dynamic kickoff and you kick a field goal, you still move the ball. It's not easy to move the ball in this league, but moving the ball only 15, 20 yards, I think, is a problem. I don't think offenses in general should be rewarded with full 3 points if they can't move the ball. And I really like the idea of if an offense can only move the ball a short distance through the field, they can still be rewarded by having an elite kicker, but they just aren't rewarded as much.
I think the talent aspect from having a good kicker makes up for that in the offense, because you're not getting the full 6 points from a good field goal. You're getting 3. So already it's deducted by 3 points. So I feel like already you're taking a hit, not moving it down the field. It doesn't really make that much of a difference.
I think 15, 20 yards from, if we're getting the ball at the 35 with the new kickoff rules, why not just move it back to the 25? 25 yards? Like, I just never understood why we're getting the ball 5 yards shorter than a flag if they kick the ball out of bounds on the kickoff. It just makes no sense to me.
I think the point was that teams were kicking it out of the end zone. They want teams to return it, so why give them the ball at the 35-yard line? I agree with you. I think the ball should be moved back, but I think the NFL made the rule change so that teams couldn't just kick it out of the back of the end zone. There would be no returns if the kickoffs were still to the 25. I think a happy medium would be the 30-yard line. I think it should be, still hard to move the ball into field goal range, but it shouldn't be only 15, 20 yards. I think if they kept the dynamic kickoffs the way it was, maybe move the starting field position of a touchback, maybe back 5 yards, even 7, 8 yards, not fully back to the 25, I think it would make it a lot better. Kickers wouldn't have the opportunity to just nail field goals, as often, far field goals, that is. As
far as field goals go, I feel like we're just going to have to agree to disagree here. We're just going kind of in a circle.
Yeah.
But, I mean, each your takes are very fair, but I don't know. I don't think there should be any change.
I mean, I'm traditional. I want the game to stay the way it is. I want to watch the same game every Sunday.
All right. That will be all for today for the Football Fanatics. It's been fun. This is Robert speaking. Thanks to my co-hosts Matt, Jonathan, and John, and we will see you next week.
Hello and welcome to the second segment of the Football Fanatics. I'm Jack, along with Ryan and Luke, and and the topic we will be talking about is Daniel Jones the comeback player of the year? So, and first thing I'll just lead off with is, for me personally, I've become more open to the idea of a player who wasn't injured going somewhere else and playing great and being considered for the comeback player of the year award. And I'm curious what your thoughts are on this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily think he should be ruled out of the comeback player of the year discussion. However, I simply just don't think he necessarily deserves it. I think there's more deserving players who have just played better, like a Christian McCaffrey, for example.
Yeah, I think he should be up for this award. Obviously, we can talk about whether this award in particular correlates to him or if it's more based on players that were hurt and they're out last year opposed to benched or not on a roster. But I think he's put up good numbers so far. I don't see why he can't be in contention. And Jack, I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts? Do you think he could win this award?
I think he definitely could. I mean, I got some stats here about him and the Colts offense as a whole. So the Colts only punted once in their first 3 games. I believe their first punt wasn't even until the second quarter of this past week against the Tennessee Titans. And it's the fewest punts for a team in the NFL since the start of the 1940 season. So I mean that's pretty impressive.
Their punter took up a roster spot the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know.
Didn't
even need him. Yeah. And then also I think Daniel Jones, he's the first player. This was really impressive. I didn't even know this until like Sunday night. He was the first player with 3 passing and 3 rushing touchdowns with 0 turnovers through the first 3 weeks. So he's already making history after not being with the Giants for 3 games. Like, my gosh. And then he also leads the league in yards per attempt at 9.3. And he's also has the most combined yards with his running back, Jonathan Taylor, for the most through 3 weeks.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he has a lot of help around him, more than he had on the Giants. Sorry, Giants fans, but he has the best running back. Jonathan Taylor has the most carries and the most yards of any running back in the National Football League this year so far. And he has some good receivers. But I think we should talk about some other people that could beat him to this award, because while he's getting a lot of the media attention, a lot of the spotlight, there are some other players, just to name two: Christian McCaffrey, Aiden Hutchinson. So I'm not sure if you can outduel them. Ryan, what do you think?
So I think that kind of brings a really interesting debate. I mean, I was looking at it today, the list of every player to win the Comeback Player of the Year. The last 7 of them have been quarterbacks. And even when you look at Daniel Jones in a specific sense about not being injured, the most recent ones, you got Joe Flacco, who won in 23 after retiring. He came back. And then Geno Smith and Ryan Tannehill in 22 and 2019 respectively. So that's 3 out of the last 6 that weren't injured the previous year that come back and then won Comeback Player of the Year as a quarterback. They led their teams. They had good years. After 2023, the rules did change to kind of emphasize a player returning from injury or like a big illness, for example. When you look at CMC, he's having a great year so far. He came back last year. He missed the first 8 games and then sprained his knee ligament in week 13 and missed the whole rest of the season. So, I mean, I feel like that's as qualifying as anything. But when you look at who's won it, the last running back to win it was Garrison Hurst in 2001, and I honestly even just had to look this guy up. I didn't really know much about him. Maybe the lack of football knowledge for me personally, but
nope.
I'll also say that I feel like the NFL, they love, like their resurgence stories. Like, I feel like they thrive. They love, like Baker Mayfield when he went to Tampa. They love Geno Smith to Seattle. So they love, I feel like they're all like the resurgence story, which is kind of why when I say that, like, I think he could win it, it's not because I think he should win it. It's almost like I feel like the NFL is going to kind of like reward that kind of storyline in a sense. So I also think that too with him, I don't know about you guys, but like I'm a Giants fan, and he looks much more healthy than he did with the Giants over the last few years. He's passer more accurate. He's shiftier in the pocket. I don't know if you guys saw that play. There was that play where it looked like he was going to get sacked like 3 different times. He avoided all the defenders. And then he got like a first down. I think it ended up being like a 20-yard play when it probably should have been like a 15-yard loss. And I mean, and he's running the football great. And the decision making just looks completely different. It's like we got a whole different player. So I'm curious what your thoughts are.
He does. He looks better. I think definitely part of it might actually end up being to do with Jonathan Taylor, who's at this point the best running back in the NFL this season. They've got a great offensive talent room, obviously including Taylor. You've got guys like Michael Pittman who are just very solid guys. Josh Downs is a reliable guy. Tyler Warren is going to win Rookie of the Year, I think. So Daniel Jones, obviously, he's playing great. He's thrown for 800 yards. He scored 6 touchdowns. He hasn't given the ball away. It's no doubt that he's played great. But, again, I really think this isn't necessarily the award that he's going to win this year. I think Christian McCaffrey's on great pace. He doesn't look like slowing down at all. Obviously, very injury-prone. I would hate to see it happen. I think everyone in football would probably hate to see that happen except for the 49ers rivals. And you got guys like Aiden Hutchinson, brutal leg injury last year. That was one of the more appalling things I've ever seen happen on a football field. Defensive guys don't win this award very often, just partially because they don't have the stats, and partially because the defensive end necessarily isn't impacting the game as much as the quarterback is. That's just simple state of the way football is played. Hutchinson to start is great, 2 sacks and a forced fumble. They're 2-1, but their defense doesn't look great. So necessarily there's a lot of options, but I just don't necessarily know if Daniel Jones is the choice.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe you can't win this award. What are the thoughts on an award if there was an award for, let's say, the most improved player, or maybe even MVP? I mean, the Colts are 3-0. If they can keep that up, do you think something like that could be in the cards?
I think the Colts definitely have the schedule to be able to make the playoffs. Their division kind of sinks this year. It's the Jaguars, Titans, and Texans. It's not a good division.
It's not.
Colts could easily walk through that division.
Texans in a down year.
Yeah,
it looks like too so far.
They could just go on a run.
Yeah, I mean, also too. I mean, I will just say, I think that that would be a great addition to have, because also like at this point now with like NFL honors and awards, people don't even know what these awards, like what's the criteria for them anymore. No one really knows. So like I think having a most improved player would make it be like, okay, comeback player is reserved for people who are coming back from injury, and then you have this most improved player, and it's someone who, again, I'm just going to say this right now. I mean, Daniel Jones, he's a perfect example of a player going to a new team with a great offensive scheme that he fits into, and like that's kind of like what this award could be, and it's about people who, I mean, it's like going from one place where it doesn't work out and the weapons around them and the people they have around them doesn't really work for them, and then going somewhere else where the scheme and it's a fit for them, and that can be kind of what this award is all about.
Yeah, you mentioned that the environment, the scheme is a big change. With the Giants, he was quoted a bust or whatever you want to call it. He was benched. They were looking at other options, and now in this new scenery, he's able to get a refresh almost of his whole career. Better offensive line protecting him, better weapons around him. So I don't see why he can't be in contention for any of these awards. And as you said, I agree that the most improved player, and we see it in the NBA, something like that could easily be added to the NFL, and maybe that's more of what he would be getting.
Yeah, I think this might have honestly turned from a comeback player of the argument into a most improved player argument. I definitely think a most improved award would set a precedent for guys that may be looking to go to a different team, perform well. Hey, you can get rewarded with this. You're not going to be in contention with guys who've were hurt and come back last year. It's 2 different awards. It kind of, as well, I think then puts more of an emphasis on the guys who are more motivated. They're returning from injury. They're playing better, like McCaffrey, like Hutchinson, like many guys in the past who have had these brutal injuries and are then able to work and come back. They should be rewarded for that, as opposed to just kind of, oh, well, yeah, you played well, but here's Daniel Jones playing on a good team.
The last question I want to ask here to both of you is, do you think, how far can Daniel Jones kind of take this Colts team, and do you think like the level of play he's playing at, because I mean it's a pretty remarkable level, like can he keep this up for a whole season? Because I feel like that's like the question. Everyone's like, people are like, is this real? Are they for real? Is he for real?
I mean, he has over 800 yards, as you said, no turnovers, 3 touchdowns passing. The teams he has played have not been the best quality, so maybe he's looking better than he actually is. But as we've said, I can see them winning the division. Whether they can make a run in the playoffs, I don't know about that. But I can definitely see him keeping this up, and if he does do that, I think he'll stay in the spotlight, stay in the media, and maybe be in contention. Ryan?
I definitely think they have the team to do this. They've played one of their 6 division games was at Tennessee. They've got 2 games against Jacksonville. They've got 2 games against Houston. They've got a game. They host Tennessee. They host the Raiders. They host all these teams. They host the 49ers. 49ers are good. Obviously, that'll be a great game. I think that honestly might have decided the award. But the Colts have 5 or 6 more wins on their schedule that I would not consider guaranteed, obviously, because it's football, but I think you can really consider that they're going to go into this game and get a win, especially these home ones. I do trust that the Colts have a good home atmosphere. I do love their stadium and their fan base. I absolutely think the Colts can go and make a run if he continues to perform like this, and it really wouldn't shock me to see them winning 12 games and making a run.
Yeah, and I think, and you know what? That is all we have for you guys today on the Football Fanatics. I'm Jack, along with Luke and Ryan, and we will see you guys next time.